America's rise to become the world's leading superpower was shaped by a combination of historical, economic, military, political, and geographic factors. Here's a broad outline of how the U.S. achieved this position. Answer 1. Geographic advantage. Natural resources. The U.S. is rich in natural resources like coal, oil, and fertile land, which fueled its industrial growth. Geographic isolation. Being bordered by two oceans and friendly neighbors to the north and south meant that the U.S. was largely insulated from the devastation of the two world wars, allowing it to build its economy and military without facing direct threats on its soil. Answer 2. Industrialization. Late 19th to early 20th century. The Industrial Revolution in the 19th century allowed the U.S. to rapidly industrialize, creating a large economy based on manufacturing, transportation, and innovation. During this period, the U.S. became a global economic powerhouse, leading in steel production, railroads, and later, automobiles. Number 3. World War I, 1914 to 1918. The U.S. entered World War I in 1917, late in the conflict. By then, European powers were weakened by years of fighting. The war boosted the U.S. economy through the production of arms and supplies. After the war, the U.S. emerged as a creditor nation, and its influence on global finance grew. Number 4. World War II, 1939 to 1945. Economic growth. World War II turned the U.S. into the arsenal of democracy as it massively ramped up production to support the Allies. Military victory. The U.S. played a decisive role in defeating the Axis powers. By the end of the war, its military was unmatched in terms of strength and reach. Technological edge. The U.S. developed the atomic bomb, cementing its military superiority. Post-war innovations in technology, such as aviation and electronics, further bolstered its dominance. Minimal war damage. Unlike Europe and Asia, the U.S. homeland was virtually untouched by the war, positioning it to lead post-war reconstruction. 5. Post-war institutions and the Cold War, 1945 to 1991. Bretton Woods system. The U.S. was instrumental in creating post-war financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. The U.S. dollar became the world's reserve currency. Marshall Plan. The U.S. funded the rebuilding of Western Europe, ensuring its influence in the region. Cold War rivalry. After World War II, the U.S. emerged as one of the two global superpowers, competing with the Soviet Union. Through alliances like NATO and the policy of containment, the U.S. expanded its military and economic influence worldwide. Nuclear arms race. The U.S. maintained its military edge during the Cold War through the development of advanced nuclear weapons and missile technology. Space race. The U.S. won the space race by landing a man on the moon in 1969, symbolizing its technological and ideological superiority. Number 6. Economic and cultural dominance. Consumer capitalism. The U.S. economy grew rapidly in the post-war period. American brands, movies, and culture spread globally, making the U.S. a cultural and economic force. Financial influence. The U.S. financial system became central to the global economy. Wall Street and American corporations dominated international markets, and the dollar was the standard for global trade. Number 7. End of the Cold War, 1991. The dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 left the U.S. as the world's sole superpower. The end of the Cold War marked the start of a unipolar world, with American values of democracy and capitalism spreading globally. U.S. military, economic, and technological supremacy was unrivaled in the 1990s, with interventions in conflicts around the world, e.g. the Gulf War in 1991, showcasing its power. Rate. Globalization and technological leadership, 21st century. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the U.S. was at the forefront of the technological revolution, particularly in the fields of computing, the internet, and biotechnology. US-based tech giants like Google, Apple, and Microsoft dominate global markets, reinforcing its economic and cultural influence. Military power. The US continues to have the largest and most advanced military in the world, with a global network of bases, cutting-edge technology, and the ability to project power virtually anywhere on Earth. Conclusion. The U.S. became the world's leading superpower through a combination of industrial strength, strategic military involvement, technological innovation, and the establishment of a global economic and political order in which it played a central role. By the end of the 20th century, its economic and military dominance, combined with the spread of its culture and ideals, solidified its position as the world's primary superpower.